let's look at appositive phrases and direct address. So remember, a phrase is just a group of words that are working together to do one job. They're doing the same job in a sentence. But just so they do the same job as like a single word could do, but they just use more words to do it. So appositive phrases and direct address are both types of phrases. Let's take a look at what a single word appositive does, and then we'll add to it. So a single word appositive is placed directly after a noun. It's going to rename that noun that came right before it, and often it's offset with commas. So in this example, my brother Jeff enjoys outdoor activities. Jeff is our appositive. Jeff comes right after the noun brother. It renames that noun, brother, and in this case, it's not offset with commas. Now, all we need to do to get an appositive phrase is just add some words. So here's an example. Jeff, my favorite kid brother, enjoys outdoor activities. So here, my favorite kid brother, that's our appositive phrase. It again is coming right after the noun, Jeff. It's renaming that noun. And in this case, it is offset with commas. So notice really the only difference is now brother has some modifiers, favorite and kid. Okay, so we just know a little bit more about the brother in this case. But that chunk of words, my favorite kid brother, it's still doing the same job as a single word appositive because it's still just renaming a noun that came right before it. Okay, so what is this comma thing? Because you might have noticed in those last two sentences, one of them had commas and one of them didn't. So commas are important. And appositives are often but not always set off by those commas. How you know when to put the commas and when not to is that depends on the function of the appositive phrase. So if the appositive phrase is called restrictive, that means it's essential. We have to have that information in order to get the point across clearly, then we would not include a comma. If the information is non-restrictive, it's not super essential, it's just kind of extra, then we would use some commas. Let's take a look at an example. So here we have my friend Terrence is coming over tonight. So most folks have more than one friend, right? So if we just said my friend is coming over tonight, well, okay, but we really mean is that Terrence is coming over, right? We have to specify that friend. So specifying Terrence is important to the sentence. So we will not have commas here because that's a restrictive appositive here, okay? In the second sentence, my husband Nathan is out of town on business. Well, typically people just have one husband, right? So we really don't need Nathan's name to be there because if we know the speaker, we probably know who the husband is. So we don't have to know that the husband's name is Nathan. The husband is the husband, no matter what his name is, right? The friend, we can have more than one, so we want to specify. The husband, probably just have one, so don't necessarily have to specify the name. So we are offsetting the appositive there with commas, a comma before and a comma after, again, because it's not essential that we name the husband. Okay, let's shift gears into direct address. So when you write as if you were specifically speaking to one person, we call that direct address. This is usually just the person's name, but it could also be some kind of term like my friend or dear or things like that. And it will be offset with commas. So let's look at some examples of how and why commas are so important. In this first sentence, we have Kate, my best friend, likes to swim every morning. Now, in that first sentence, we're talking about Kate. It's as if we're talking to someone else and saying, hey, Kate, oh, you know Kate, she's my best friend. Hey, she likes to swim every morning, right? So my best friend is actually an appositive in this case because it's renaming, it's an appositive phrase, it's renaming Kate. It's telling us exactly who Kate is. Now, in this second sentence, Kate, my best friend likes to swim every morning. Now we're talking to Kate. The best friend is no longer Kate. The best friend is someone else. Hey, Kate, my best friend likes to swim every morning. All right, cool, right? So the comma here really makes all the difference because it changes the sentence from having an appositive phrase to being a direct address. So be very careful with those commas. Okay, so that covers it. An appositive phrase is placed directly after a noun. It renames the noun that came right before it and may or may not be offset with commas. A direct address is when you are writing as if you were speaking to a specific person. You might use their name or you might use some kind of term of endearment or maybe just a term. And it will be offset with commas. As always, if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to your teacher.